Holy cow, folks. Can you believe it? It's time for another edition of the Rec Poker Podcast, but this is the YouTube live edition. We're talking to the one and only Kevin Mathers about the WSOP 2022 schedule that dropped today. We've got Kev Math in the house today. Kevin, thank you for joining us, man. It's great to see your smiling face.
Thanks, Jim, and great to see everyone here in the watching on YouTube Live or later on. And I'm glad that people will finally stop bugging me about when the schedule is coming up, because it's out now.
Yeah, now they can start asking you about the monster stack and whether you can rebuy into the Millionaire Maker. There's lots of fun questions we get to ask you now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's You start off with the monster stack's a good one. That's right.
So first of all, Kevin, what's your day been like today? It's been, I don't know, 10 hours since the schedule dropped. Tell us what goes through your day on schedule drop day.
Just that, it was I was sort of expecting it to drop around noon Eastern, and it came out at 11. Usually they'll give me like a little bit of warning about when the schedules come, like at the exact time. So I sort of got a little bit. I saw like a couple minutes after the fact, but which don't really mind that much, because I mean I've had the schedule itself since Monday night, so it's not like it's a huge surprise. I was as I know it, I was kind of working on getting the schedules up for the Head Mob, so that people can go there and check out I set up. There's a bracelet schedule page, a satellite schedule page, and then the daily deep stack page. So I got all those three to get. I was working on getting all those uploaded over the past couple of days.
Nice. It's crazy just the amount of just little tasks and minutiae that goes into this kind of stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's definitely, because there's always these little details that you got to make sure are worked out, and it's fun to like kind of see the schedule in advance, so you can sort of like anticipate what people will ask about. And so I have, I've had my share of questions asked on the Twitter already, and I'm sure, as certain details will come out in the coming weeks that we don't know yet. But I'll have that. That's what I'll have to look forward to now. But I mean, it's a good thing that we actually got the schedule and the structure sheets out on the same day, which is definitely not happened. It's kind of happened a couple of times in the past few years, but it didn't happen last year. And I believe it happened in 2019 year. But yeah, it's good to have that. People don't ask you about,
it saves a bunch of those.
It saves a bunch of those dumb questions. Yes. Well, I won't say they're dumb questions.
No, but they're going to be answered anyways, once the street sheet comes out, so they can save you some time there.
Exactly. And I can just find the answer and give it to them. And that's how I keep my job.
Well, I know we've got a bunch of people watching on YouTube right now. If they have any questions, they can type it right into the chat box there. And I know we got a bunch of Wrecking Crew members and premium members joining us here in the Zoom session as well. So if anybody wants to ask any specific questions, go ahead. While everyone's thinking about that and typing it out.
Yeah. Just so you know, Jim, unfortunately, we don't have audio on the YouTube.
Audio.
I'm trying.
I see that. I see that on the YouTube. So
I'm trying. Well, hopefully we'll get it up and running here soon. But yeah, I'm working on it.
We'll just keep rolling here for the podcast portion of it anyway, and then we can hopefully pick it up on YouTube. But otherwise, they're going to see a lot of smiling faces at least, which is something. So Kevin, while people are thinking about the questions they want to ask, what are the questions that you're getting most right now from general population?
I mean, it's not really. I mean, it's kind of just basically about a bunch of things. I think. The one thing that's kind of a surprise from previous years is that actually this year I can actually say, when people ask if Monster Stack is a reentry, I can, for the first time in I think the 8 years of the Monster Stack, I can actually say yes, there is reentry in the Monster Stack.
So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was a bit that's been running for quite a while, and then they tried to switch it up. So if you decide to play flight A of the Monster Stack and get knocked out, you can play flight B the following day.
There you go, folks. You heard it here first.
Yeah. Yes, you've heard it. You may have read about it. I read about it on Twitter but yeah, people have been like, I'm gonna just like short circuit when people ask that question, because I've always said no.
Right. No, exactly. Exactly.
Yes.
So I don't know about everyone else. I've kind of had a chance to kind of look down the barrel of this a little bit and circle a few and cross a few off. I've basically printed off. I'm a pen and paper guy myself, so I printed it off and got it down to basically everything where the buy-in's less. There are a lot of really low buy-in events this year, which is awesome. I looked at this. I saw like 8 that are under $1,000 or something like that, which is phenomenal. There's a lot of chance for people to get in there with a recreational bankroll.
Yeah, there's definitely. I mean, that's kind of been a trend the past couple of years is doing these under 1K. Of course, the opening, like the big event on the first weekends is always like a $500 event, and then we've seen a rise in the number of the bigger deep stack events, the $600 and $800 deep stacks. And this year they've added a 2K and a 3K no limit event, which that was kind of a price point they've been not having. They have like a 1,500 or 2,500, but so it's nice to have something a little bit higher for those who didn't really want to play with didn't want to play in the fields of a smaller buy-in, be more of a minefield type of thing.
I see that we've got our audio back on YouTube, so that's fantastic. Hopefully some folks there got a chance to appreciate what we're getting into here. So yeah, I thought that was really great for recreational players to see a bunch of those lower entry ones. And I know I've got a couple of these circled. I see the flip and go, my favorite, of course. Yes. My favorite, of course, is on the 12th. So that one's $1,000, and you basically guarantee a pretty random assortment of people that make the money of that one, which I can personally attest to. Tim, what do you guys? Are you thinking about that one? You go try your luck.
No, I was just laughing because last year when you did that,
oh, it's too funny.
So I like to gamble, but that's a little too much gamble.
Yeah. I was looking at it, I was thinking, yeah, I don't know if I might just want to retire from the flip and go.
Let's just flip a coin for $1,000, right? That's even worse than.
I was going to say it's much worse than that. Yeah, it's much worse than that. No, your eyes are much worse.
It's more like a Dungeons and Dragons type of, eight-sided die. And,
there you go.
Yeah, and the format is slightly different. Last year they tried to do like flights, and then they would run a bunch of the one tables, and this time they're not even bothering flights. It's going to be starting June 1st is when you can actually start playing the flip and goes, the one table flip and goes.
Right.
So it kind of got off to a very slow start. They've been offered for a few days, and they never really got started until like a couple of days before the actual 1A, 1B flights happened. And then between 1A, 1B, they ran I think like 40 of them in between. And then they had their very last chance. And Jim was fortunate enough to get in for one bullet, and there were people who had over 20 and were not fortunate. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That was pretty gross for a few people, I think, definitely. And I thought there was a real missed opportunity there. They could have run a bunch of the $10 satellites into the $100 satellites. I think they could have just printed, if they wanted to do that, a little 10 minutes a hand for $100 a table. Is anything like that coming up this year, Kevin, or they're sticking with the 100s?
I would assume they're not going to do anything like that, but you never know. I mean, they're going to have a lot of tables, so it's a possibility, but I can't see them thinking about doing a smaller flip and go into the bigger one. But you never know. It could, if you can find enough people, maybe they would consider it.
We should do if we end up getting a rec poker house again, we should just start doing a bunch of little satellites of our own, little $10 flip and goes in the lounge, right? Chris, you like that idea? You know what's up. So Chris, what jumped out at you when you took a look at the schedule this year?
I was just thrilled to see it finally, and I've just been kind of digesting it. But Kevin, what I'd love to hear from you is, what stands out to you as kind of the biggest difference, or what's kind of new this year?
Well, I guess like the biggest, I think the one that's going to generate the most interest is going to be the $1 million bounty tournament.
Oh yeah.
A $1,000. Yeah, sorry, $1,000 buy-in. The top. It's a mystery bounty. In 2020, the WSOP was going to have a mystery bounty tournament. Of course, we all know what happened after that. But yeah, so $1,000 mystery bounty, and the top bounty is going to be a cool $1 million. Which is going to be,
and it's going on during the main event, or like around the main event too, which is also pretty interesting timing wise.
Yeah, that's definitely the chatter on Twitter has definitely been, people have been sort of questioning why would they do this event like basically right around day 1A, the day ones of the main event. It's I'm kind of surprised at that as well, but I figured it may have been a day or two, could have started a day or two earlier, but.
Mm-hmm. Good news for rec players like us, because there's going to be a lot fewer sharks playing in that $1,000 millionaire bounty. So there's a chance to, spread that amongst the lower levels of the poker community. I volunteer.
Yeah. It's the more the merrier is what I say.
Amen. Keith, what about you? What are you looking at?
I'm looking at that $1 million bounty one. I got a question about it. What percentage of the prize pool is going to be up for the bounties?
That's a really good question, because they didn't really, in the structure sheet, they didn't really break that down. Basically, players that advance to there's going to be no bounties on day one. So it's basically all the players on day two will be considered as a bounty. At least that's I'm assuming how that's going to work. They probably should add some details for that. I mean, I would assume it's going to be kind of similar to what we see with the win mystery bounties. I would assume it's basically like, it may be way like 40%. Like, let's say the prize pool is going to be, let's say it's $890. It's going to be into the prize pool. And it's probably going to be something like, it'd be kind of like 50-50, half prize pool, half it was going to go to the collective bounties. Of course, we won't know. I mean, we know the top bounty, but we don't know we're not going to know the breakdown of the other bounties. Usually, like if you look at the Win Millions has at least one or two mystery bounties coming up this. Their series just started this week. They usually will break down how all the bounties will be done. Is to be like your top bounty, and then they'll have like. I think they usually have like a 250, and then they'll have like 100 and then a 50, and then they'll kind of break it down from there. So I assume this field is going to be big enough, 4 flights, a limited reentry. No, I'm sorry, I think it's 1 reentry per flight. We should see hopefully a good 5, 6, maybe like 7,000 entries in the mystery bounty. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, one per flight for 4 days. So that gives you a lot of chance.
So you can put $8,000 into this if you want. and they said there are going to be payouts on day one. So I assume we'll get a breakdown of how that's done. You're probably paying. You'll pay 15%. Probably see 5% get to day 2, and then before play starts on day 2, we'll have all the bounty details.
Right.
So that will be. Hopefully, I mean, nice to be like added money, but I doubt that's going to happen. But I'm sure they'll give some more. I know I'm repeating here, but I would assume they'll give you details on how much is prize pool and how much is bounty.
Sure. Andrew, did you have something?
I was just curious, like for the sit and goes, there was a little bit of drama with the chips and being able to transfer those from person to person last year or the last couple of years. Have they kind of figured out, or do you know if that's how that's going to work from going forward?
That's a really good question. Well, I mean, it's kind of like it's the rule is there's no cash value on the buy-in chips. But of course, we all know there's definitely people that were brazenly. I mean, I think the issue was that people were like inside the payout cage selling these chips, and that's it's one of those things where it's kind of like it's. People know what's happening, but it's like they don't really want it like out in the open like that. There's definitely better ways to do those transactions. And I haven't heard anything about this year, but they're still going to have tournament buy-in chips, and I think, I may have caught. I mean, I think I partially caused a bit of a disruption with that. With basically I was told that they were kind of tracking. It seems like some people were tracking, or at least attempting to track the buy-in chips. I don't know what the situation is going to be for this year, but I wouldn't try to go up to people in the hallway and try to in the various tournament areas and try to sell them. Maybe if you got some friends, make a you guys can figure out a way to exchange your dollars for chips. But I don't want to see it.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sure none of us know at all what you're talking about, Kevin. I think
didn't mean to back you into a corner on that. Sorry.
No, it's okay. No, I kind of it's okay. I mean, I think there's definitely a lot of details that are going to be coming up in the next few weeks. I mean, I assume, if you don't do it out in the open, there's not going to be a huge issue. But again, it's like I'm kind of like, I gotta be the company man here and say,
yeah. Well, that's what we want to know. Yeah, that's what we need to know.
Well, you shouldn't really be doing it, but
we got
as long as I don't see it, I can't. I'm not.
It's the paper bag. It's the paper bag theory of law enforcement.
Exactly.
Hey, it's good rule for a reason. We got a question here from Jefferson Kupferberg in the YouTube chat. Where are the daily deep stacks going to be played? Do you know that, Kevin?
I don't. Well, I think the plan is, I believe, it's going to be, we're going to have the Bally's Conference Center, and we're going to have the Paris Conference Center. I think, I believe they're going to use Bally's. They're going to use a section of Bally's, the convention center, for the deep stacks, the cash games, the satellites. I think Paris is going to, this could be reversed, but I think like day ones, like for big day ones, they'll be in Paris. And then day 2 will be Bally's, and beyond. But
that makes sense.
But they're going to try to separate it, because I haven't walked between the two, but there's definitely, it appears to be a little bit of a walking distance between the two. But I think, they said they're going to have 600 tables, if I read the press release correctly. So they will have plenty of room for everything, as long as nothing goes too crazy.
Now, I know Chris wants to jump in here, but we get another question from YouTube. Mark Prashan, website Mark himself, says, Kevin, I think I remember seeing that you wandered the halls of Bally's Paris last fall. What's your impression of the new WSOP space?
Unfortunately, that is not. That was my plan. And then I decided to play a tournament at the Sahara, and I finished second. And I never got a chance to actually visit.
Humble brag. Finish second. Big, huge cash. Yeah.
Well, you missed my story yesterday, Jim.
Was that the
tournament?
Was that the big chop? Is that the big four-way chop? Yeah. Oh, I didn't miss that, baby. Oh man, I was hanging on every word. Come on. Yeah. Take it down. You get the crown, right? You get the number one for that.
I did. And but anyway, so reading the press release, there's going to be 150,000 square feet and 600 poker tables between Paris and Bali. So, I'm sure. Again, there's we got like some big details today, but as we go along in the next few weeks, they'll probably break down how everything will be sorted out, so people can have a general idea of where they need to go. Because this is a new venue for the WSOP, so there's going to be a bit of a learning curve for everyone involved.
Oh, sure.
To let everyone know where you need to go.
Oh yeah.
But the main cage, where everyone's going to be registering, that's going to be in Paris, Vegas, in the Champagne Ballroom. And then like the new mothership, that's going to be in Bally's.
I see how they're splitting that up. Chris?
I was curious about this event 89. That's the Tournament of Champions. What's going on there? What is that?
Okay, so the Tournament Champion is basically a win and you're in type of deal. So what they've done for this year, it's a $1 million prize pool. It's a free roll. So if you've won a WSOP circuit event this season, which is basically when they started, it was October. When the live WSOP circuit restarted. So if you've won a circuit ring, and they are including the seniors and ladies events, and they have ladies and seniors events pretty much for every circuit stop this year, and that's including the ones that are in Canada and the ones that are in Aruba and St. Martin coming up and Rosvadov. If you win one of those rings, you get a seat into the WSOP Tournament Champions, along with all the bracelet winners.
Right.
At this year, at the 2022 WSOP. So there's going to be about 300 or so that would be eligible. And that would be event 89. That will be the very last event. So, I believe event 88 is a super turbo, which is a 1-day event the day before.
Yeah, that's right.
So everyone who is wanting a ring or bracelet will be eligible to play. It's a 3-day event. You can actually register up until the start of day 2. So, if you people who maybe aren't in town or maybe forgot or just decided just going to show up late, they can register the start of day 2 and for their chance at the $1 million.
It's pretty sweet. That is pretty sweet.
I assume you're planning on playing in that one, Chris?
Yeah, I'm gonna get 5 or 6 entries into that, I think.
Okay.
Yes. So basically, from what Kevin's saying, it's basically they're just stealing John Somsky's Tournament of Champions format that we do for our pins here. It's just, you win a tournament, you win a circuit event, there you get this Tournament of Champions. They even stole the name. We even call it the Tournament of Champions. So, no hard feelings, Kevin, because I know you're on the inside over there, but just, a little shout out when, every time the WSOP mentions that, they should just say, as we took it from Rec Poker, the free poker learning community.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe we'll slip John a couple bucks for that.
I think that, right? He deserves it. And I want everyone, just so we're clear about this, recently, this offer has been made. It's currently the end of February. If you send me a photo of you buying John Somsky a beer between now and June 1st, I will buy you a beer when I am down in Vegas in June. So that it needs to be a photo of you buying John a beer, and John is free to sub out a different, beverage according to the time and place. But every photo, and then you email that to me, and we will enjoy a beer down in Vegas when I'm down there, which I'm looking forward to. Okay, Donald Ducati, are all events up to $10,000 available to buy in with a credit card?
Yes, you are correct. And you can, it's events of $10,000 or less.
10,000 or less. Okay.
10,000. So you can buy into the main event with your credit or debit card. No problem there.
Excellent.
And you could do multiple transactions on, you can buy into the main event and the 1K mini main. You could do that in one transaction. So you can go over 10,000, but the individual event has to be is capped at 10,000.
Okay, good. There you go, Donald. So I know Taylor Moss, the wonderful producer, he's got this split screen up there for our viewing audience, and he's got the schedule over on the sides there. So I thought I would just roll through from the top some of the ones that jumped out to me. I kind of circled basically everything that was 1,500 or less that was just no limit hold'em. I know that's kind of a pretty fine line, a pretty fine net to pass, but I don't play mixed games for money. I should learn how to play a few first, but all right, Tim, you've got a couple questions. Why don't you jump in?
Yeah. I've got this one's out of our Discord channel. The Casino Employees Tournament. Who qualifies for that? Do they have to be a member of either Bally's or Paris, or is it just any casino employee?
It's basically any casino employee. So you don't have to be a member. You don't have to be working for Caesar's. You could be a dealer in London, and if you show the usual standard is to have some sort of ID or a pay stub. So it's basically available to any casino employee around. You could be a chef at a casino. It's not, you don't necessarily have to be a dealer or play or dealer in the casino itself, but as you're working as an employee at a casino. So a cocktail waitress could enter. Someone who's doing custodial duties could enter the event. It's anyone, any casino employee is eligible to participate.
Gotcha. All right. And then next would be, have they released the structures? And if so, where can you find them?
Yes, there are the structure sheets are available, fortunately. And if you go to, if you go to WSOP.com/tournaments, you will see all 89 events on there, and they do have a structure sheet underneath. So you could download all 89 structure sheets right now and
Perfect.
peruse at your leisure. And let's while I'm there, let's just take a look and see if they've added something to the $1 million bounty. No, see, yeah, it's just the standard. They take out 11% for the rake-in, et cetera. But I think what we'll see is at some point they will add something that will say how the about the bounty. It may be an FAQ or something similar that will detail how the bounties will be distributed.
Perfect. And then lastly, the elephant in the room. What kind of COVID restrictions or policies will be in place?
Well, that is a good question. And as of right now, there is no mask requirement because the mask requirement in Nevada was removed, and you do not have to prove your vaccination. So if you decide after all this time not to be vaccinated, you're eligible to play. They're not going to check for the vaccination status. And they're not going to require to wear a mask at this moment. Now things could always change, but
right.
At this moment, everyone who is over 21 years of age is eligible to play in the World Series of Poker.
Perfect. Thank you.
No
I
problem.
have a question about masks. Now, there is no mask mandate, and I go to Laughlin across the river from me, and nobody's wearing masks except for me because I continue to wear my mask. Is that going to be an issue if I'm sitting at a poker table?
That's a very good question, because I know in the rules there is rules against that prohibit players from wearing a mask, but it's one of those things where it's like it was a rule that was instituted back in the day, several years ago. It was basically like people were like Phil Locke basically changed his look. He just basically got a makeup artist and just completely made himself indistinguishable. It was just basically just some other person. So the following year they put a rule in where you couldn't do that. I would say that the rule is there, but I don't think there's going to be an issue because of various people have worn masks at the table before the COVID breakout. So I don't think there's going to be an issue that's going if you decide to wear a mask. And it's basically for your protection and for others' protection. I don't think they're going to say you can't play, because I'm sure there's going to be, I would say maybe like 20% of the field. That may be a little high, to be honest, but I think there's going to be people that will be wearing a mask, and preventing people from doing that would be a really bad move optically, in my opinion.
So it sounds like and again, you can't speak authoritatively about this, but it sounds like if people are wearing like a surgical mask, for instance, to prevent the transmission of COVID, that would be permitted. But if they're wearing like a gorilla mask to completely cover their face, that would not be permitted. So it'll probably be
exactly.
Like
I think there would be I would think they would do something if you're showing up at the table at the start. You remove your mask so they can to check your ID, and then you put your mask back on, and then you should be fine. But like you said, I would assume if there's pushback, I would say, and I'm of course not trying to represent the WSOP here, but I would say that would be a bad move if they said no one can wear a mask.
Yeah, me too. Chris, something else?
Yeah, I've got another question from Discord. This is from Mark and NC, and he's wondering about event 27, the shootout. He's wondering, how does an event shootout go from 2,000 players to a winner in 3 rounds? Assuming 10 players to start, doesn't 3 rounds mean you start with 2,000, then you get 200, and then you're down to 20? Like, how do you play? How does that work?
Okay, well, this is one of those things that I've never really understood, because they've never really they showed 2,000 player max, and they haven't been close to 2,000 in quite a while. What they would basically do is they would probably set up 100 tables. And so I think they would set for 100 tables, and then if they sell those 100 it would be 10-handed tables. So if they sell 1,000 players, then that's the maximum registration. To be honest, I don't know why they keep putting that number out there. They're not going to set. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe there'll be a breakout year this year and they'll have 2,000, but the basic gist of it would be, let's just say they get 2,000. They play it's 200 tables. So 200 tables. All the winners advance to day 2. You have 200 players. You can have 20 10-handed tables. Every winner, and so basically day 3 would be 20 players, and probably just play out like a tournament. Then you would combine at 10 and then play to a winner. But I would expect that the field would get at most 1,000. I mean, they could do it. They could add, maybe they'll do 1,200, and then they would do let's say to do 1,200, they have 120 tables, then they do 26-handed tables, and then you would do it. It's basically, it would break it down that way. It's not going to be like they're not going to have like 150 tables. I'm sorry, that's wrong number. 100, let's say 105 tables. They're not going to do that. It's going to be in multiples of 10, and then they'll figure it out as it goes along. But it's not going to be like, they're not going to have like an 11-handed table, for example. They're not going to do something like that. So I would say that most years they've gotten to like 1,000. I think that's what we would see. But because there will be years when they would do like the 10K no limit heads up, and they said the field was capped at 512, and they barely get to 256. So they put numbers out there that I just don't think are realistic. It would just make more sense to say 1,000 or 1,200 or something like that. But that's just the way it is sometimes.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, basically, like, as I said, it's basically like the registration is, it's going to be free. It's going to be 2 hours, which is free levels, or when they sell out all, if someone puts out a table, they're not going to like reopen that seat for someone else. It's going to be, there's not going to be an 11th player coming to that table. If that makes sense. I hope it does to Mark and Nancy.
And I have one other question. Do you, with this schedule, somebody on Discord is also wondering about some of the side events. They like to come to the World Series, maybe take their one shot at a bracelet event, but mostly they like to kind of grind some of the deep stacks and some of those. Do we have a sense of, are those going to be happening in similar manner that they have in past years, or?
Yes, there will be deep stacks again this year. There's actually going to be one fewer than previous years. In the past they would run 4 a day at 250, 200, 400, and 150. This year there's only going to be 3. There's going to be at 2 o'clock. There's going to be a $250 daily deep stack. At 5 p.m. is going to be a $400 turbo, and then at 9 p.m. is going to be a $200 turbo. And then there will also be on Mondays in the afternoon, there will be a $250 horse deep stack. And then Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m., there's going to be the 250 seniors deep stack for all of us 50 years old and older. So,
all of us?
Yes.
You're not 50.
Yes, I am. Yes, I actually did play my first seniors event last year.
Wow. All right. Congratulations, Pops.
Thank you, sir. Yeah,
cheers.
I don't feel that old, but
yeah.
I thought, old, to be honest.
I'm in the club, but I'm still in my 40. I'm not quite into the seniors yet. But
you're not there yet. But yeah.
No. But it's like looking in a mirror down the road. I know more, but this is what I can expect. I'm feeling good about it.
Exactly. But yeah, the horse and seniors event, they did relatively well. So it was good to see them return this year. And I'm kind of surprised that they reduced the number of daily deep stacks, but I think it was kind of for the best, because it seems like, there would always be a time when they would have to cancel an event. Or I think, it's good, if they're going to have more space, I think it's better to have, fewer events in some cases. So it's sort of like you get a little bit better experience.
So I want people, if you're watching or listening, stay tuned, because we're going to have a special announcement coming up at the end of this. But we've got another question from the YouTube chat here. Mark Brashan says, what's the big bet game number 35?
Okay, the big bet game, it's basically a bunch of no limit and pot limit events. So I'll just fire up the structure sheet so we can. So it's basically, it consists of Big O, which is 5-card pot limit Omaha 8 or better. No limit Hold'em, obviously. No limit Deuce of 7 draw. PLO 8 or better. No limit 5-card draw, high. PLO, and then pot limit deuce to 7 triple draw, which, so this, people who like to make big bets, and it's gonna be, it should be interesting that in the some of the pot limit events like the PLOs at around this $2,500 buy-in, it's going to be 2 re-entries this year. In the past, it was 1. So that's a bit of a change from previous years. But I think there's only a few events that are going to have 2 re-entries instead of 1. So it's not going to be like you can just fire at will in these events.
All right. So if you like big bets and you cannot lie, event number 35 might be right up your alley. You never know.
Exactly.
Go check it out.
Exactly. And I believe I believe they play that here 6 or 7-handed.
So that would make sense.
So if people like to play shorthanded as well, that would be an event for you.
Right. All right. Well, let's let producer Taylor take us back to the top of the order here, and then we'll just roll through some of these events that I kind of circled on my own because I'm playing a recreational player's budget, and I'm mostly a no limit hold'em player, like I say. So I like the idea of the housewarming. This one's starting off on June 2nd. It's got 4 day ones. It's a $500 entry with 1 re-entry per flight. So I like that there's a good mix of re-entry and freeze outs this year, Kevin, I noticed as well. How does that kind of compare to previous years, do you think?
It looks like it's about the same. I mean, like I said, the house, the opening weekend, there's always one big low buy-in. It's the one event they put a guarantee on the prize pool itself.
Right.
And it's kind of, I was thinking about this, with the housewarming, usually when you have a housewarming, you usually give something, to the person that when you go to someone's house, you usually have like something for them. And I don't know, I haven't put this on Twitter, but it seems like there's a way to put some sort of charitable element into this. Like if you're playing this event, you give something. I don't know what it is, but I haven't thought it through completely.
I like that idea.
But it seems like you could throw in a charitable element into this for one of the Caesar's charities or whatever. And I don't know if that would go over well, but it's and it's also starting on Thursday. Hopefully, we usually get the bugs out because a lot of people are going to register for this event online, or they're going to show up early and register. And as a veteran of the WSOP, you see these long lines that go over the place. And sort of creates a certain amount of frustration. But of course, with registering online, you have to show like in previous years, you have to prove your identity or verify your card so that there's you're not trying to use someone else's card to play a $500 event or whatever.
Right.
So
I still think getting a full pint of blood seems excessive, but I understand why they have to do it. It's a modern world. It's too easy to fake fingerprints and that kind of stuff. I get it. Yeah, it's the big frustration. I know a lot of people have about it. Having to do that sort of thing, but usually after this, it's relatively smooth sailing. Even though maybe like a Millionaire Maker and Monster Stack will be kind of similar, but it's not going to be, we're not going to get like 13,000 entries in those events. We'll just see, hopefully, maybe get 16,000 entries and a relatively smooth ranked tournament. That's the objective here. John, did you have something to lean into?
Yeah, I just noticed that right before that, event number 5 is the event number 4, the Dealer's Choice. And, the $1,500 Dealer's Choice, which is still a little expensive for me to play in games that I don't know. But I'm really interested in that. Particularly, I was thinking, a couple events before that, you could buy me into event 2 instead of buy me a beer. That's the 100K high roller. Then I could play the Dealer's Choice and then go right into the housewarming. There you go. I
think you're right. I like your skill edge in those games, John. That sounds like that would be a good investment.
Yeah, and with the high roller bounty, if you eliminate one player, you get $25,000. See, there you go. That would buy you in. That would if you bust someone, then you bust yourself soon after.
That's
You're
right.
taking care of your dealer's choice. You're taking care of all your bullets in the housewarming.
Yeah.
You're good to go. You could.
Plus, that pays for a lot of those beers that I'm going to have
Yeah.
to buy people too, right?
You know,
Exactly.
I've just figured out that I would love to have you, Jim, as my backer. I'm never going to have you as my financial advisor.
Wise decision. At least the latter portion of that makes you a wise fan. So yeah, and John and everyone else, feel free to jump in about some of the other games that interest them that are less, some of the mixed games, some of the higher buy-ins, that kind of stuff, shorthanded, that kind of stuff. So then the next one that jumped out at me was event number 11, the No Limit Hold'em Deep Stacks. That's a $600 with one re-entry. That's a 2-day event. So I like that idea. And then there's a six-handed. What do you guys think here on the panel when it comes to these kind of events? Do you dip your toe into the six-handed stuff? Do you like to play full ring instead? I see a lot of slow shakes. Yeah, Tim, what are you saying?
So I'm mixed. So if you like break it down like this, so when you play online, every tournament you're going to play except a satellite is going to be 8-handed, not 10-handed. Okay, so there's a little difference there. But then like the majority of your training tools are 6-handed. Like DTO, for instance, it's a 6-handed training tool. So it just kind of varies. Like but I always find myself playing 6-handed and I'm like, oh man, like, do I really know what to do here? Because I know you have to VPIP extra, but then I'm like, well, I always do DTO, so I know what to do. I just don't know the ranges.
Yeah, just pretend early position doesn't matter. Just early position doesn't exist. You got it.
But I mean, it all plays the same for the most part. I mean, 6-handed plays a little faster in my opinion. But
yeah, those blinds come by a little faster too, right?
Right.
That's part of it. Yeah.
Right.
So then there's a $1,500. That's the 600 one, and then that's the 6-handed one. Then on the 9th, there's a $1,000 freeze out. And I always kind of like those, to be honest with you. I like that freeze out. You're only in for $1,000 and you're not going to get tempted to, because you have to walk right past the cage. Kevin, how many rebuys do you think are impulse rebuys, and how many of them are, oh no, I knew I was going to buy a second bullet here today? Because they make you walk right past it. It's really cruel.
Yeah, I mean, I would think it's definitely, I would say it's very situated. I mean, I'm not one to really re-enter myself, but I mean, I think there's definitely, when people play an event that has re-entry, I think most of them have in their mind that they're going to fire at least one additional bullet. And some who may have a little bit more in the bankroll, they may have 2 or 3 in the chamber.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they're going to get on that first bullet, they're going to be very aggressive, and then if they bust, and then it's sort of like all right, I knew that was going to happen, so I'm just going to go. I'll make my way to the cage and re-enter, and then maybe at the third one they're a little like I'm not, if it's like in the middle of registration, they may give it some thought before walking back and seeing the cashier again.
Yeah, and I think if it's near the beginning of the tournament, you're probably getting a pretty similar situation that you just invested in anyway. To be honest with you, if it was profitable then, just think of it as being another tournament that you're entering. But yeah, that can kind of get a little excessive. We got a question from Keith here. Are you bringing back the kiosks, and can you use them for re-entries?
Yes. The fast track kiosk will definitely be back. At it, and I'm sure, I don't know how many they have, but I assume they would have to have they'll have several, and hopefully they won't do it like they did last year, where they had several, where in the Belize, which was like relatively far away from the pavilion, there was they had like 6 or 7 stacked in there next to each other, and they had some like next to Caesar Rewards, and I hope they spread them out a little bit. Personally, I don't know. I don't think that was really the best location for them. I mean, having 2 or 3 is fine, but having that many together didn't seem. But they will be back. They will be available for if people need to re-enter, they will be available. So hopefully, that was definitely one of the frustrating things from the last year's WSOP was, there were various issues with printing out receipts. And,
oh yeah.
And the machines were down more out, especially like the first couple of weeks, they were down quite a bit. And hopefully they'll be maintained a bit better. And because that, the more often they're available, the more people are going to use them, and the more often they're going to contribute to rake and the prize pool.
Yep. Good point.
But no, I told people that, when they're working, they're amazing. Because
True.
you're not standing in line with a few hundred other people where you can just go on your phone, spend your however much and plus the 3%, and you walk to a kiosk, stick your card in, print your seat assignment, and you're off. And you're saving a ton of time there. And when it was working, it was very good. It was very good. But not, it was people are yelling at me on Twitter, like, why is this fixed? And it's like, it's like I would have to help people. I would direct people to go to player services, and they have to wait in line there and get everything taken care of. And it was definitely one of the bad. I had my share of bad moments, with that sort of thing happening.
I just got this vision of you like under one of these with a screwdriver trying to like get the damn thing working. Come on, Kevin, get it together, man.
I think people think I actually maintain the machines, so I can. It's like, I wish
you are kind of like an angel for what you have to endure each World Series, I think.
Yes,
for sure.
Yes,
sure.
I have the patience of a saint at various times. Yes.
Oh yeah. And by the way, if you see Kevin out there, you just buy him a beer for your own sake. I'm not buying you a beer back. That's too many beers. But you really should buy Kevin a beer if you see him. Andrew, did you have something there?
So as far as like kind of on the same thing about setting up your WSOP account with getting money into it and also playing online. So if somebody hasn't set up a WSOP account, but they're going to be going to Vegas, and they're going to be playing some of the online tournaments and or putting money in their account, is there anything special that needs to be done or? On that?
No, you can register. You can register from anywhere. If you want to set up a WSOP.com online account, you can fund that from outside Nevada. Right, if, from your home, you can use your credit card or PayPal or your ACH. You could set that up now if you want. Well, you probably would rather wait until just before you leave or whatever. But you could get that. You could get your account funded right now or whenever you want, and you don't have to be inside Nevada to do that. The issue that may come up later is like when you're trying to withdraw. But there's going to be a cage I believe the cage is going to be at Bally's, but there's a couple other properties that you'll be able to withdraw funds for or deposit if need be. I believe it's Caesar's Palace, Paris, and I believe it used to be Planet Hollywood. But if you go to WSOP.com and then you go to the online poker section, they can tell you can find out where you can actually deposit in Nevada, or if you're in New Jersey or in Pennsylvania, you have that option as well of depositing your cash at the cage, or getting your money out as well.
So you do have to be in Nevada to withdraw, though. Is that what?
No, you can initiate the process outside of Nevada.
Okay.
You can have like if you deposit on PayPal, you can get the money back on PayPal.
Okay, perfect.
It doesn't. It's not exactly instantaneous, which is which may be a sore spot for some people, but you can't. Those options are available for you.
All right. So then next on Friday, June 10th, we have event number 21A, the Monster Stack, which is it's got 2 day ones, and it's got the rebuy structure of bust day 1 or bust A, play B. Is that right?
That is correct. Yeah, for the first time ever.
Yeah.
So I look forward. Yeah, I look forward to answering that question. I just get the answer. I just get the answer differently this time. Every other time I said no, but now this time it's yes. So it's that never ends. It's people just love
they're keeping you on your toes, man.
They're definitely keeping me. WSP is definitely keeping me on my toes this year with that particular question.
Rob, did you have something there? I see Rob's unmuted, but we'll just roll and jump in anytime. Saturday, June 12th, there's the flip and go. Yeah, the flip.
That's right.
You get all warm and fuzzy just thinking about it.
You gotta play it again. You gotta go 2 for 2.
Yep. Well, Chris Jones knows the magic involved. I finished 55th. Come on. It's a rec poker miracle. 5-5. That's like you can't get any better than that. So yeah, that one's always fun. And then also that day is the deep stack, $800, and that one is that one re-entry, I think. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we've all the day of those deep stacks are one re-entry. There may be one that has. I think maybe the PLO deep stack may have 2 re-entries, but but it's either one or 2.
And then on Monday, June 13th, there's the shootout event number 27. That's a $1,500, and that's a cool. So for our listeners that don't know, a shootout, every table plays down to one player, and then they advance to the next one. So Kevin, they do a shootout every year. How is it usually well attended? Do they hit their targets for that? What makes it different from other tournament formats?
It's basically like it's relatively simple. With let's just say they list as we discussed earlier, they have a 2,000 player cap which they never reach, but let's just say they get 1,000, and it's basically all you have to do is you have to win three one table sit and goes,
right,
and you can have a bracelet.
It's pretty cool, isn't it? I mean, you get shorthanded each time, you get the heads up each time, and it's a winner. It's like each table's a winner take all.
Yeah, you get to work on all parts of your game. You start with full ring, and then you get the shorthanded, then you get the heads up, and do that 3 times, and boom.
Pretty amazing. And ultimately, you just have to beat those people, as it were. And that's similar to other structures. Normally, you're not actually playing against everybody else at all the other tables, but it is kind of a cool way to approach that.
Right, and there's you're just gonna there's no one else that's going to join in the middle with a big with a big stack that could just take you out. It's you're just trying to collect all the chips at that particular table.
Yeah. And then we got a question from James Carwick over here on YouTube. Are there any withdrawal limits, like no more than 5K or 10K per hour or per day? Withdrawal limits in person in Las Vegas using your WSOP funded accounts? If so, it may be better to just carry 20K around. I'll tell you, James, I know a lot of people that carry a stupid amount of cash around Las Vegas for WSOP. But Kevin, what do you think about those withdrawal limits?
Well, with WSOP, I don't know the exact limits, but I think it's if you go to WSOP.com and go to online poker, I think they'll show you that they can. But there's a couple of options that are also available. You could also get a safe deposit box.
Yep.
Which I don't know, those details aren't out yet. But the other option, which was definitely a more popular option last year, was to have a WSOP tournament account, which is basically you can take your funds and you put them in a tournament account, and then you could basically keep your money there, and then for it and you would use the fast track system as well. It's basically like you go online, you have your tournament account, you have, let's say, $5,000 in there, and you want to say, I want to play day one, I want to play flight A of the monster stack. So you go online, your funds are there, you just click the buttons, you go to a fast track kiosk, and you get a C assignment. So that's probably gonna be a better option than walking around with $20,000 in your pocket. You never know.
Although it feels pretty cool.
It feels very cool until you have no money and someone hit you over the head. Or
but no one would do that in Las Vegas. That's such. No. I mean, everyone there is so friendly and kind and looking out for each other. Yeah, it's like the city of brotherly love, I think. Right? I mean, I'm from Canada. I get some of those cities confused every once in a while. But
exactly, yeah, exactly. But I would say it would be a better option is to go, a tournament account, especially if you're playing live events, or a safe deposit box. They're not cheap, but you're not going to lose your money.
Yeah, that ain't cheap either. So then this is when I might be coming down. This because my birthday is on June 20th, and there's a $500 bracelet event on my birthday. So I'm looking at this kind of mid-June. I might head on down there. So event number 34, that's a $1,500 freeze out on the 16th. On the 17th and 18th are the Millionaire Maker 2 day ones. That's a $1,500 with one rebuy per entry, right? Or one rebuy per flight.
Right. That's been the tradition for
Yeah,
previous
same
years.
as same as
And
before.
and with the winner is guaranteed a cool $1 million.
That's pretty sweet.
Mhm.
That's pretty hard to argue with. And yeah, you can they'll make it, you can just light 6K on fire over the course of 2 days there if you like. They will allow that.
They will accommodate you very easily.
They will accommodate you.
If you have $6,000, they will definitely help you spend those $6,000.
It's true. They're very, very helpful in that way.
Yes, they are.
I cannot speak for personal experience, just in case people think that's a bit. No, I did not drop 6K. I think I dropped 3K though. I did re-enter into that last year. God protect me. On June 19th, event number 41, there's the Super Turbo Bounty No Limit Hold'em freeze out for $1,000. This one seems like it could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's if you eliminate a player, you get $300, which is always nice to have.
Mm-hmm.
And it's it's a one-day tournament. They play down to a winner. It's 20-minute levels. It's you gotta have a little bit of discipline, obviously being a freeze out, but it's always the one-day events are usually a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
There's I think there's a 10K super bounty, and there was a 1,500 super turbo bounty.
Yeah, there's another one on the 29th. It's also that super turbo one-day event.
Yeah, they're definitely. It seems like they could probably put a couple more in the schedule. I think they've added a couple this year, but it's definitely the super turbos are definitely events that people want to have more of at the WSOP.
Well, and you put a super turbo and a bounty together, and that makes for a lot of fast action. Like people are going to be, chips are going to be colliding in the middle. They're getting in there so quickly.
Yeah.
People might forget masks. They might want goggles at those tables because a ricochet coming off one of those collisions, that could cause, and then there's a liability lawsuit coming in. The WSOP doesn't want that. So.
No.
All right, well, noted. Next up, we got the Jim Reed birthday tournament, number 43. It's a $500 freeze out. So I have a chance to compete for a bracelet, and there's no way that I can spend more than $500 on my birthday. So I think I'm going to be there for that. I just can't turn that kind of kismet down. That's like the Jim Reed special. I think it's going to be perfect. So come buy me a beer that day. One per level, right, Kevin? Is that the rule?
Yes, but that's my limit on the buy-in is $250 when I do that.
Okay, so if it's 500, that's 2 beers per level.
Yep.
That's the math. I think that math works in my mind. All right.
Or is it Long Island's per level?
Oh no!
You're right. I may have to change the drink. Well, I don't think they serve Long Island. I don't think they serve those at Bowie's, but I haven't done beverages there, so there may be a variety.
We might have to find out. We might have to find out. I think if people know that it's your birthday during the tournament, they're going to get you loaded. So there's a real handicap involved in that.
Fortunately, my birthday's in September, so I'll never know that. Never have that problem.
All right, so I'm looking forward to that. Get a bracelet on your birthday. Can't argue with that. And then on the 23rd, there's event number 49. This is the No Limit Hold'em $2,000 event. So this is that kind of that high roller version for us recreational players. This is the only one over $1,500 that made my list.
And they used to, there's in the past they would have $2,000 No Limit events. This is a price point that they haven't had in a while. So, and there were definitely people that were in that mid stakes area that were hoping to see a 2K and a 3K, and their wish was granted this year because there are both.
There you go.
Those price points are available this year.
There you go. Yeah, it's the democracy at work. So we've got a question from Donald in the chat again. Did you ever get a centralized website that shows areas running WSOP main event satellites, like nationwide? Coordinated report on that.
Yeah, that's something I'm going to have. I don't know if it's going to be me or someone else should work on that. It was kind of difficult last year because there was definitely places that were planning to do them and then they decided to cancel. Hopefully this time around, maybe we on Twitter or somehow I'll try to find a way to get out, publicize the places that are having WSOP main event satellites.
There you go.
But it would be a good thing to have. Maybe website Mark could help me out with that. And, I mean, I know he's good. I know he's good with the structure sheets.
He knows his stuff, man. He's got the
Yes,
poker facts, no doubt about it.
Yeah, maybe that would be a place where we can get some of that stuff. You get that, just get it out there.
You heard it here first, folks. I'm telling you, and website Mark, it's not just because he's our he's a huge pillar of what we do here at Rec Poker, and his company also sponsors the podcast. But we could not do what we do without Mark Brachon at Website Amp. Literally, we could not do it. And I think he's really coming on to the poker scene. I think he's got a lot of skills to lend. He's got this niche of kind of really helping poker players and poker coaches and poker companies build their web presence. And you can find out more about him by going to Website Amp. And I encourage everyone to do it. He's really on top of his game. So then there's the Colossus coming up Friday, June 24th. So that's a $400 entry. That's the cheapest event that I saw in here. And it's a very popular event every year, obviously.
Yeah, it's not, yeah, you're right. It is, it's definitely, with the lowest price point, definitely very popular. It's not the glory days when it was, when the first couple of years when they would do 6 flights of this and it would just be complete chaos out there. But it's got its niche, and it's a good weekend event. Like you said, $400. Fire a couple bullets. It'll be plenty of fun. For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're just getting to the part where we're going to announce a special contest here that I think people are really going to enjoy. But first, on Sunday, June 26th, we've got the Salute to Warriors. That's a $500 bracelet event with 1 re-entry, and the proceeds go to the USO and other veterans organizations. So that's fantastic. And is that when it says the proceeds? So that's just that's like the profits essentially. It's not like what comes out of the prize pool, but would come out of the rig.
I believe it's $40 of each buy-in goes to the USO and veterans organizations, if I recall correct. Yes, it says in the instruction sheet, $40 of each entry. So you figure, I think it's let's see, it's 10%. Yeah, I think they'll do is it'll be like altogether, I think 14% goes out, but there'll be 6.3 as entry fees, 3.7 for staff, and then another 40 for the donation, which I think is for the I believe that's the standard percentage that they take out in those $500 events. So it's not like it's additional money removed from the prize pool.
Sure. Yep. Cool. So that's exciting, and it's great to support a great cause. And then this is the one on June 26th. This might be the last event that I play because we have this big Canada Day party every year. Not for the last couple of years, but we try to have this big Canada Day party on every year. And for folks that don't know, Canada Day in Canada is on July 1st, which is just in a very inconvenient time when it comes to the WSOP schedule, I have to say. But so this is the $1,000 tag team event, which just sounds like so much damn fun, doesn't it? Like everyone seems to have a really good time. Has anyone on the panel, has anyone here played in this event? Kevin, can you tell us some fun stories about some people that played in it, and like parent and childs, I know, and like friends and siblings and spouses and all that kind of stuff? It's a cool format.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely, you definitely have, father, son, mother, daughter, son, mother. I believe last year, I think it was, I'm trying to remember her name, but it was, I can't remember, maybe it's someone that you've had on the show, Amanda Deerfield, if I remember the name correctly. She and her father played the tag team event.
Oh yeah, right. Yes, I remember.
Yeah. They finished third, so that was definitely a fun story. You have you have 2 friends, boyfriend, girlfriend, etc. But it's I think the 2-player format is a much better format than having 3 or 4-player teams.
Yeah.
Which just last year was the first year they did it when it was exclusively 2-player teams, and I think that just works better overall. Instead of you could play like the first level, you could play like the first orbit and not play again and win a bracelet,
right?
Which I think was kind of lame.
And so let's talk about that. So what is the structure for that when it comes to sharing time with your partner? So it's 2-person teams. So it's essentially it's $1,000 tournament. So each player would put up $500 or something like that. And
correct. And basically you have to register together, and you have each player on the team has to play at least one round of blinds. So effectively, you could just play small and big blind, and then that's it. And then as long as you both
per orbit. Sorry, per blind level. You mean, Kevin?
No. Someone could just play small and big blind, and they're done.
Okay.
But they have both players on the team have to do that by the end of registration. But I mean, I think most people. I think in most teams, it's going to be one. They're going to play it. It'll be relatively even, or maybe like a 60-40 thing. I don't think we're going to see, just someone just play an orbit and then leave, and then their teammate is going to play the rest away. I don't think.
Right.
The number of instances of that happening is very small, in my opinion.
But if like Ryan LaPlante and I were going to play in it together, I wouldn't have to like play half the hands necessarily. No. I could play, I could play the button and he could play all the hard positions or something like that. Or no, actually, that's a good question. Is there a rule about how many hands in a row, or like swapping in and out too often or anything like that? So you could really, it's up to you as long as you're
right. You could theoretically switch every hand.
Right.
You could do that. I don't think that's really going to be a really good strategy. I don't think that's going to be the best strategy to use, but it's a strategy that's available.
What do you think, Kim? Is that a good way to introduce some tilt into the table?
Jim, I think you just play the small blind and big blind in the first level once when the tournament starts, and then Ryan can play the rest of it, and you're good to go.
Just fold, even if you got aces, just fold.
Yeah, just open. Yeah, aces in the mug. That's what you gotta do.
That sounds like a pretty good strategy. All right. Well, actually, so one of the fun things that we talked about having sort of this special announcement, or maybe this special contest we're going to do. It just occurred to us today while we were looking at the schedule, and Matt mentioned it with the gang here. So the tag team event is probably the last one that I'm going to be able to stick around for, and I really want to play in it, but I have a hard time choosing between like good people. There's so many good people on the wrecking crew, and I don't want to like reveal who I think is the best poker player, because that would be kind of rude. So I'm not going to ask one person to play with me. It's a $1,000 event. I think what we're going to do is, if you are a Rec Poker Premium member on June 1st, and so you might want to register a little earlier just because you don't know what time I'm going to do the draw. But if you are a Rec Poker member on June 1st, we're going to do a draw, and whoever we draw out of the hat is going to get a $500 entry into this tag team event, and we're going to play together. So that's how we're going to pick my partner. All you need to do is get yourself down to Las Vegas and put yourself up and get yourself to the tournament. I'm going to cover my own entry, and we'll provide your $500 entry, and we will come and play the tournament together, and hopefully we'll win a bracelet for Rec Poker, me and one premium member, on June 1st. So I hope you get a chance to sign up for $5 using code Rec Poker. Feel free to do it on May 28th. But also feel free to jump in anytime between now and then. I think you'll really enjoy what we have going on here. Go to rec.poker and use code RECPOKER to sign up for only $5. And there's a chance that we can play in this tag team event and win a bracelet together. And how cool would that be? So I hope people do. What do you think, Kevin? Are you going to I see Taylor, I don't know if you're.
I was going to say that's awesome, Jim. I mean, that's great news. If I were to offer some advice, I'd maybe say, just play the small blind, big blind, fold everything, including aces, and then let your partner take over from there. So yeah, that's awesome opportunity for everyone else and you.
True.
Yeah.
Well said.
What better chance can people have at getting a bracelet?
Yeah. Now, I should also say some of these other wrecking crew members might be willing to play in this tournament. So if you'd like to actually play with someone who's good at poker, I recommend one of these other folks here on the wrecking crew. You can go to rec.poker/crew and check them out. But if you're interested in having a good time and probably not winning a bracelet, you need to become a premium member at Rec Poker for June 1st. We'll do that draw. I'm really looking forward to that. Okay. So yeah, so Kevin, that is the tag team, and that one is a 3-day event. So like there better be some chemistry with your partner there, because you're
Right,
going to
yeah,
be cheek to jowl for a while.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're gonna have to. Yeah, you like I said, good chemistry. Someone that you kind of know their ability. You don't want them to donk. You don't want them to donk it off, and when you're like, especially if you don't get a chance to play and they just donk it off, it's like you can't join their team. You can't go to the cage and find someone else in line and say, "Can I play with you, sir or ma'am?"
Oh yeah, good point. It's not like
they don't allow you to do that.
Well, and
You're
you
out of
do
luck.
realize, Jim, that you don't actually like sit on your partner's lap and play. You don't share the seat at the same time.
What? Hold on a second. Wait a second.
Yeah,
It-
that's
it-
a good point, John. Yeah,
you know-
they do rope off the area, so it's sort
Oh,
of
I
you
thought you
gotta-
just alternated who was sitting in whose lap every orbit or something.
no,
No.
not enough room on the table for that.
This game sounds fun.
Number of entries is plummeting who are like wanting to join on to this. Like, it's still a good deal.
Everybody was thinking about it before. It's like, oh man,
Yeah, I'm
you
not
wanna sit
sure.
on my lap.
That's right.
I don't know if you know, but rec poker teams, at least as far as I'm aware, are 1-for-1 in cashing and tag team events. Chris and I cash and made a final table in the MSPT one, and neither of us got uncomfortable sitting on each other's laps through the entire tournament. So I mean, it was great. Yeah, the final table and everything.
Yeah, there's a real camaraderie around here. It's true. We're all very comfortable together.
We're all friends here, right?
We're all
That's all that matters.
friends here. All right, so that's the tag team. Then on June 27th, there's the Deep Stack Championship. That's a $600 tournament. Another one of these great, very accessible tournaments like that, which is also a 1 re-entry.
Right, and this is a 4-day event because most of the deep stacks are 30-minute levels throughout, while this one, day one is 40-minute levels, and then the rest of the way it's 60-minute levels. So there's that you're going to get plenty of play if you can outlast the competition.
Yep, good point. And the structures, I mean, that is a great, if you're kind of trying to figure out which tournaments to play, definitely look at the buy-ins, but look at the levels too. Look at the structures, because that makes a big difference to your experience as a player, for sure. So then we've got another Super Turbo Bounty. This is the 1500 event number 62 on June 29th.
Hang on a sec. I just want to, you glazed over the short deck. It's a 10K championship, but is there a 1K short deck?
No, unfortunately, and this is definitely, there's definitely been people that kind of like wish there would be like a 1K short deck, because it's really the only way you can expect to grow this particular game. It's like, having it just available at the 10K and up price point is, it's not going to get the recreational player even to care about playing short deck. It's such a unique game. Yeah, it's not, there's I don't think I've ever seen a tournament, may have seen like maybe 1 or 2 that have had like a reasonable price point for most players, but everything else has always been 10K and up. It's just sort of like, you should be able to put a 1K out there for people that, it's give people that, the one opportunity, I think it'd be kind of a fun game to play, for a recreational player. It's like, it's, less cards, and there's, weird rules, and I don't know why they've never considered doing that. Just having it like a week before the 10K short deck, and maybe because most of the other events that are out there, they have like a 1500 and a 10K, and it would seem like this would be one you could do it here as well, but they've never pulled the trigger on that.
Right. Maybe next year.
Maybe, but it's yeah, it would be nice, but I don't think there's any other rooms. I don't think I've seen a tournament in Vegas that's had a 4-figure short deck or below.
Right.
I could be wrong, but it would be kind of a fun event to see maybe
I
that'll
think
give
we
people.
had one at an event at Playground Poker. That was like
Oh,
a
yeah.
$600 buy-in. So,
Mm.
and it was very well attended. People really liked it. So
Yeah, I agree, Kim. It's like, they should some place, just do one event, for a small buy and see how it works. And then,
yeah.
but it's not like it's just because it's just not played often. They don't want to give the space to it for whatever reason. But
Yeah.
All right, Jim, carry on. Sorry.
No, I like it. No, that's what we're here for. We're all here to ask.
John told me I had to interrupt at least
That's
once.
right. You know it, Kim. Well, you don't get this kind of access to Kevin Mathers all the time. And Kevin, you've been really generous with your time. So we will wrap it up here pretty soon because this is longer than you deserve on the end of a very long day, I'm sure.
hey, no worries. I have plenty of time for you guys.
Oh, you are so kind, man. Okay, buy this man a beer, everybody. All right, I know it's popular tonight, but do it. Kevin and I got a chance to pal around a bit in the Rio when I was down there last year. It's just you're just a good guy. You're just a fun person to hang around with. Your heart's in the right place. You're doing such a great work here for the poker community. It's just great to be to have you here on the crew, my man. I'm so glad. And people, if you want to know, Kevin's a proud member of the Wrecking Crew here. If you go to rec.poker/kevmath, you can learn all about him and his Substack and ways that you can help him continue his life in poker, because we're all just here because we love poker. We love sharing our love with poker. So I just so appreciate it, Kevin. That's really phenomenal.
Thank you very much, Jim. I appreciate that.
So then this one's kind of cool. Friday, July 1st, Canada Day.
Hang on, Jim.
Yeah, Kim. Yeah. Yeah, get in
Ladies
there.
event.
I figured
Oh yeah, sorry. That's right. See, this is a very Jim-centric approach. I told you. I printed this off for myself. Yeah,
So
Kim,
event
tell
number
us.
61, the ladies event, is on June 29th this year. And it's really great that it's been moved closer to some of the more exciting events like the $1 million bounty and the main event. So I think that's really good that it's been moved back sort of closer to that time period. So hope to see a lot of women there this year.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely and of course the ladies get that 90% discount because the buy-in is listed at 10,000.
Yes.
And I think there was one guy, was there one or two last year, but there was someone who actually paid the 10. No, it was one person that paid 10K, and their reasoning may have been a little questionable, but I'm sure the ladies appreciate the extra money that went into the price pool for his entry.
Yeah, that's right. So, and we had Lara Eisenberg on the pod, the winner from last year, and she was also on Kim's monthly poker empowerment group that meets here every month and talks about issues facing women in poker and how to get more people involved in the game that don't necessarily feel as comfortable at the table as some of the rest of us. So Kim, way to go. That I know you've been running that for quite a while now, and I think it's really getting some momentum. You're getting some great guests on that, so way to go. So yeah, then here we're talking about on the 29th, we have the the mini main. So this is kind of cool. So this is a $1,000 tournament instead of $10,000 for the main event. And is the structure similar? What makes it the mini main, Kevin?
It is the same structure as the main event. It's 30-minute levels. It's a freeze out. But yeah, you're playing every level of the WSOP of the 10K main event. Just a little bit. Takes a little bit sooner to get done. It's not going to take 12 days, fortunately.
And it's 60,000 chips and
Yeah,
60,000 chips, which is
right. Which is the same amount as chips that you would get in the main event, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's the same, just shorter levels.
And then there's a really fun one here. This is the $1 million mystery bounty that we were talking about earlier. So we kind of covered that, but it is pretty cool. And I'll be kind of curious to see how the bounty pool gets distributed outside of that. There were some good points on Twitter that it might be even more enticing if it was like a $500,000 bounty, and then there were a few other really big ones as well, rather than having it all at the top in that one. Does anyone have any opinions about that?
Not about the bounty, but I think this is because it runs into the main event. I think that this might be the only year we see day 1A and day 1B of the main event having higher numbers, so they can also play the mystery bounty,
The other way. Yeah. That makes sense.
right?
And what kind of strategies do you typically take into multiple day events, Kim, when you're looking on when to enter? Is it always depending on the other tournaments
I
at the
usually
time,
enter. I usually enter. If the times I played the main, I've always tried to enter the last day, and I prefer that. I think that they've had all of the satellite winners are all coming in, and there's way more people on those days. But if I get to play the main event this year, I will be playing day 1A or day 1B, so I can play the this awesome $1 million bounty.
It does look pretty cool. So yeah, Kevin, what do you hear on that front? Why? What are people's smart bets for what days to enter on multi-day tournaments and that kind of thing?
Yeah, it's definitely, it's always, especially with the main event, as people are sort of like, which days should they play? Do they want to play A? And hopefully, it'll be a smaller field, but then maybe it's not, the pros aren't going to play that day. And with last year, when they add E and F, it sort of added even more of a dynamic. It's sort of
Right.
Like, do you want to play with the European players, the players who flew in? It's good. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see when people decide to play the $1 million value. The final flight, 68D, on July 4th. That's going to be the turbo flight, which is going to be 15-minute levels. And so that may be somewhere you just want to take you want to take a chance and be part of that day 2 bounty prize pool.
Right.
But yeah, because they put that plays to a winner on the 6th, which is day 1D of the main event. And with the main event this year, you can, like last year, you could register up until the end of level 7 on day 2B. I'm sorry, day 2D, because
yeah,
2AB and then they'll do 2CD. So you could realistically play both, and have a little bit of time off. But it's of course, if the final day of the bounty is going to be, there'll be only 5 players left. So, most people are not going to have that, are going to have plenty of time to play both events if they wish.
That's a good point. And Kevin, can you just talk a little bit about this buying into day 2? I know that's kind of a new, not this year. I know they did it last year as well, but how is that different from other circumstances, and why might people do it, or why might people not want to do it?
I think, so you can buy in the very latest that you can buy in, which is it'll be about 3:40 3:40 p.m. on July 8th. That's 2CD, or you can do it on 3:40 p.m. on July 7th, which is day 2A and B. So I mean, it's one of those things where you don't you want to make day 2 of a tournament, or you can't show up and play day 1A. You can't play one of day 1 flights. You're busy with, you don't want to play on July 4th. You want to watch fireworks or something. Or people just they want to procrastinate and just get in at the very last minute. There's definitely people, you'll have, you're going to have 60, you'll have 70, you'll have 50 big, if you max late reg, you'll have 60,000 chips at 600, 1200, which is 50 big blinds. And there's definitely plenty of players who don't mind
That's
playing
a lot.
starting. Exactly, they'll play with 50 big blinds. They feel they're more comfortable with that than starting with 300. Or, I think people, there's definitely people who don't really don't like registration being that late. But I mean, I would think it'd be a little better if you could start register up until the start of day 2, like with all the other events.
Right.
But it's everyone. You have plenty of options. You got plenty of opportunities to get into this tournament and enter whenever you like.
And Kevin, how you've seen so many of these, like how predictably can we time the bubble bursting and getting into the money? So like if you're buying into day 2 at that point, how much closer are you to making that min cash or getting to the bubble?
So I think, let's see, last year I think we got to the money at the end. It was the very end of day 3.
Right.
they play a little bit into, they would have played a little into day 4 if they just played the standard 5 levels, but I think it was an hour. I think it was in level 16 that they got to the bubble, which this year on the structure sheet this year, they're expecting it to be early on day 4 around level 17. I think, it's, the way, we've all, if you've been around to see how the bubble is at the main event, everything, it just slows to a crawl.
It sure does.
And it's sort of like, and it's one of those things where you kind of would, you kind of hope you're like 50 from the money at the end of the scheduled day. So then you can just show up at 11 the next day and just play regularly and not have to do with, being 1 a.m. and you're still there fighting for someone to go broke.
Right. Yeah.
And it's that the bubble play is just so excruciating.
Yes.
Because everyone just let's see, I got let's see, I got 5 high. What am I going to do here? And it's like, okay, all right.
I'm not going to rush myself. I'm just going
to
told myself I'd take my time.
I'm going to take my time. And then I hear we're 2 from the mic. Oh, cold. Okay. But it's like that, it's like a couple hours. It seems like it's a couple hours before we get to when we start hand for hand. It's like, that's when the stalling starts.
It's true. All right. Well, then we get all the way to Thursday, July 7th, and it's time for the one more for one drop. That's the $1,111 tournament that goes to benefit a wonderful cause in poker. That's got 3-day ones.
Yep.
And
you can buy
unlimited rebuys, right? Yeah.
Unlimited re-entry, and you can re-enter on day up until I think it's 2 levels into day 2, like it was last year.
There you go. So that's exciting. And then on Sunday the 10th, event number 76. This one's so cool. The Poker Hall of Fame bounty, no limit hold'em freeze out. So 1979, a very important year if you know about the Poker Hall of Fame. And $1,979 is the price of entry here. And every Hall of Famer has a bounty on it. What's the amount of the bounty? I couldn't pick that up out of this.
The amount of the bounty is the year that they were inducted. That's how.
Oh, right, of course.
Right, so and they will announce the. It seems like there's going to be one person inducted into the Poker Hall of Fame this year, and they will have a 2022 bounty on their head.
That is cool.
So they'll when they announce that. One thing. We should discuss the event before that, event 75, which is the Lucky Sevens.
Oh yeah, now they really should have made this event number 77, Kevin, and I hold you personally responsible for this.
Yes, I do. Yes, I agree. It's I don't understand why they, when they had the crazy eights, they would do the same thing. It wouldn't be like it wouldn't have an 8 in the name in the number, which is I don't know, but.
This one is cool. Tell us about this one.
All right. So basically, it's a lucky 7. So the buy-in is $777, and you're playing 7-handed, and the top prize is $777,777.
That's it.
So in the past, it used to be the crazy 8s, which would have all the 8s. So this year, no 888 events, so it's just a 777. So it'll be a little easier to get to that $777,777 prize pool.
That's right. And they've got 3-day ones for that as well, and unlimited reentries for that one as well. So you can really go broke with 3-day ones and unlimited reentry. Oh man,
that's correct. And it's a fun event. And a lot of people don't like playing 10-handed.
Right.
You don't like playing 10-handed is even though we have a ton of there's going to be a ton of tables. I'm sure like the $500 events, especially like the housewarming, that's probably going to be 10-handed. But hopefully not. I mean, maybe we can look out this year. If we have so many tables and we have enough dealers, it'd be great to put 9-handed for once. But
there you go. That would be great.
That would be great. But there are a lot of 6- and 8-handed events out there as well. So. People who like to play at with those, not a very full table, they'll have their wish there.
There you go. And like $777 US, that's like $1,000 Canadian or so. So we're in the same territory there. I like the way you chose that. So then on Thursday the 14th, there is the 2-day 8-handed no limit hold'em deep stack. That's an $800 buy-in with 1 re-entry. I like that as well. That's a fun structure for recreational players like us. Then on Friday 15th, event number 85 has 2 day ones. This is the closer, no limit hold'em, 1,500 and 1 re-entry per flight, and that's just that's a standard
regular
levels,
old,
right?
Yeah, it's I just had it open here. Yeah, this is 30-minute levels throughout.
Yep.
And of course, now the point you should bring up here, Jim, is because this is not the final event of the series. Why should it be called the closer?
Now, why is that? I was perplexed.
Yeah, because that would be a good that probably should be an event. Well, because there's multiple flights, it's probably why it's not the very, very last event. So you have to have one event before the tournament. Have like the final event before the tournament of champions. But,
good point.
So it would probably take it's it's a 3-day event. So I guess that's why they didn't do it that way. But
they're cheating though. Come on.
They're cheating. So. But that's why they have that super turbo right at the very end, so that's your last chance tournament of champions qualifier.
That's right. That's the one that I've got circled here at the end here. That's on Sunday, July 17th. It's a 1-day event, number 88, $1,000 buy-in for the super turbo no limit hold'em. 1 re-entry available for that one as well. And yeah, that's how you can punch your ticket to that tournament of champions at the end of the series, and your shot at $1 million prize pool. That's pretty cool.
Exactly. Yeah, and get free your last free shot at winning. And there's a brace at the end of the tournament of champions as well. So there's always you have that kind of free as well. Is as probably about a couple $100,000 if you win.
How about that? So if I win on my birthday, you're saying I get a chance to get entered into the tournament of champions. And then I could win a second bracelet in the tournament of champions without even having to pay to enter another tournament.
Exactly. That's a dream right there.
Oh my God. No kidding. We'll just see. And then one for the tag team. I mean, I guess my partner and I, we're gonna have to I get it for Christmas, they get it for Thanksgiving.
Well,
I get it for Easter.
You each get a bracelet in a tag team.
Oh, you each get a bracelet in the tag team.
Yes, each player gets a bracelet. So you don't have to have a big lawsuit to the who has visiting rights on the bracelet.
I just figured visiting rights. So you have a custody arrangement, and every other weekend you get the bracelet. And
right.
No, okay, I do like that better. I do.
Yeah.
Or I guess there's one bracelet that's twice as long. Would be the other way to think about it.
Yeah.
You could put have it around your calf or something. That'd be quite the fashion statement.
Yeah.
I'm not winning you over on the calf. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, no, wrists are better for bracelets. You're right. All right. Well, you can tell we're getting a little loopy here. That's pretty much the end of
all that beer we've been drinking.
That's true. It's gone down awfully smooth today, hasn't it, Kevin? Well, it's your last chance, YouTube fellows and ladies. We're drawn to a close here. If anyone has any final questions for Kevin, type them in quick. Otherwise, I want to just thank everybody for being involved in this super fun show. Just spur of the moment, kind of threw this together. I really got to thank Taylor Moss for doing some really spectacular production work. I don't think he knew that we were going to be doing this for as long as we did. I sure didn't, but you can't turn down the chance to talk to Kevin Mathers about the WSOP on scheduled drop day. So thank you so much, Taylor. You kicked some serious butt tonight. And thank you for everyone who is watching on YouTube and participating in the chat and hanging along with us. And remember, go to rec.poker and sign up for premium membership using the code RECPOKER for only $5. And you'll get entered into a draw to play in the tag team event with me. We'll cover your entry. We can go down at the end of June, have some fun together. And I'm really looking forward to that. So I hope a bunch of people take me up on that. Any last questions for Kevin? Or are we going to let this man enjoy the rest of his night? Poor guy's been working overtime. Kim?
No,
John?
thanks, Kevin. It was great.
Yeah.
Well, my only question was I did the math, and if you wanted to stake me in all of the high rollers, it's less than 700,000. So
and you're not charging any markup, right? No markup.
Oh yeah, that'd be no markup. So and you said it was a great investment, Jim.
I
so
did.
How can you pass it up?
You're right. You're absolutely correct. I think I'm pincered. You got me. All right. Well, put 700,000 and a bunch of beers on my tab. And yeah, folks, don't forget, email me a photo of you buying John Somsky beer, and then I will buy you a beer in Las Vegas. I can't wait. We're going to have some good times. Okay. Well, then I want to thank Website AMP and Running Aces Hotel, Racetrack, and Casino. I want to thank the one and only Kevin Mathers. A Kingdom on Mang, thank you so much for being here tonight. Tim, John, Kim, Keith, Rob, Taylor, and everyone who is here as well. Thank you so much and have a wonderful night.